Christmas Eve, 1945, Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family, George and Jenny, and their 10 children had just finished celebrating. They hung stockings, ate dinner, said goodnight. By morning, their house had burned to the ground. 5 of the children were missing, but their bodies were never found. This is the story of the Sodder children, a case that remains one of the strangest, most haunting unsolved mysteries in American history. George Sodder was an Italian immigrant, a hardworking man who owned a successful trucking business. He and his wife Jenny had built a life in the United States, 10 children, a big home. They were respected in the community, but George had enemies. He was outspoken, critical of Mussolini, and some didn't like that. The days leading up to the fire were filled with odd events. A man showed up, offering to install wiring, then warned George his house would go up in smoke. Another man tried to sell life insurance. When George declined, he said, "Your house is going to burn, and your children are going to be destroyed." Strange? Yes, but nothing compared to what would come. December 24th, the family gathered. 9 of the 10 children were home. The oldest son was away in the military. At night, George and Jenny went to bed. So did the youngest children. 5 of the older kids asked to stay up late and play. Jenny agreed. She turned off the lights, closed the curtains, went to sleep. Just after 1 a.m., she was awakened by a strange phone call. A woman, wrong number, odd laugh in the background, clinking glasses. Jenny hung up. Something felt off. She noticed the lights were still on. Curtains open, the door unlocked. The kids were gone from the living room. She went back to bed. Moments later, she heard a loud bang. Then, smoke. The house was on fire. George and Jenny escaped with 4 of their children, but 5 were missing. Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty. They screamed their names. No answer. George tried to go back in. The staircase was gone. He ran to get a ladder. It had disappeared. Tried to move his truck to climb through a window. The engine wouldn't start. The phone didn't work. A neighbor ran to call the fire department, but they arrived hours later. By then, it was too late. The house was ashes, but no bones were found, no remains, no sign of the 5 children. Authorities declared the children dead, said the fire had cremated their bodies entirely. But Jenny refused to believe it. She tested that theory. She burned small animal bones in the stove. Even after hours, bones remained. A crematorium expert told her, "It's impossible for a house fire to completely destroy human bones." So where were the children? Reports came in. A woman said she saw them in a car the next morning. Another claimed she served them breakfast at a roadside diner. A motel owner said a family with 5 kids checked in that night, speaking Italian. The sightings were never confirmed, but George and Jenny believed their children were alive. They put up a billboard by the highway. It stayed up for 40 years. Photos of the missing children, a reward, a message. What was the motive for the law's unusual silence on the matter? George spent years investigating. He dug through ashes, hired private detectives, chased down leads across states. One day they received a letter, no return address. Inside, a photo of a young man. On the back, Louis Sodder. "I love Brother Frankie. E-Lil Boys. A 90132. The man in the photo looked like Louis, older, but they could never confirm it. Still, they held on to hope. George died in 1969. Jenny in 1989. They never stopped searching. The surviving children continued the fight, but eventually the trail went cold. What happened that night? Did someone take the children? Was it revenge against George? A warning? Or a government cover-up? Some believe the children were kidnapped by someone they knew, that the fire was staged to cover the abduction. Others believe they were trafficked, or that they grew up under different names, unaware of who they really were. No DNA, no bodies, no answers, just theories. The billboard is gone now, but the mystery remains. The Sodder case has inspired documentaries, podcasts, and forums, but no one has ever solved it. How can 5 children disappear without a trace? A fire without remains, a staircase gone, a ladder moved, a truck disabled, A call in the night. Too many coincidences. Too many questions. And still, after almost 80 years, no answers. What do you think happened to the Sodder children? Let us know in the comments. And subscribe to TrendMind for more true mysteries that refuse to be forgotten.